Greetings and salutations, friend. I am Jeremy Tank. I am an expert in behavioral branding, a master designer, and an RTT hypnotherapist. And today I want to talk about a little something that stumped me. I like to talk about things that stump me because when things stump me, it means that I need to talk with more people. I need to talk with more people who know more. I need to read more. I need to understand a little bit more. And really, what stumped me was, as I was sitting down with someone, I asked, okay, so what do you want from life? What is your goal? What are you actually working towards? What are you doing with life? You know, because there's a very basic breakdown of the law of attraction. And I know, there's lots of different degrees in what people believe in the law of attraction. Some people think that if you just, believe strong enough and think strong enough and meditate strong enough that the world is going to come right to you. I tend to believe that when you think and focus on the things that you want to move towards, the vision that you have, the thing that you're growing, just having the place where you want to be in life, that trains your mind and part of your brain to start to recognize and automatically build the things that you want. What that means is that they come into your consciousness, your conscious awareness, so that you can act on them, so that you can do the things. Oh, thanks, Amy. Hi. And hi, Patrick. I see you watching. When you actually create a vision of the things you want to build, then it trains part of your brain to start looking for those things. When I talk about quantum science with people, a lot of what I talk about comes down to the double slit experiment. And in the double slit experiment, they shot basically a laser, photons, light, through these two slits, to these holes in paper. And on the other side of that was photogenic paper. So as they would blast this light through it, what they were expecting to see and what they saw when they expected it and watched was two solid stripes. Right? That seems to make sense. If you're putting something through the paper, then you're going to get two solid stripes on the other side. But what they discovered was, as they weren't really paying attention to it, as they weren't really watching it or expecting anything, the results on the photo paper showed two fairly dark stripes, but a whole myriad of stripes going outward that were lighter, and it kind of gradate off on one side and gradate off and kind of mix in the middle. And what this shows that was when they were paying attention to the experiment, when they were expecting something and measuring, really, that's what it comes down to. When they were measuring and paying attention, the photons in this laser acted like particles. Meaning, as they were shot from the laser straight towards the holes, they passed through the holes cleanly and hit the photo paper. And that was those clean, dark, obvious marks. But when they weren't really paying attention, when they weren't really observing things, when they were just kind of letting it go, we know what it's going to do, but we have to conduct, this is science, we have to conduct an experiment a whole bunch of times to make sure it's repeatable, to make sure that things, whatever we do is valid. That's one of the fun things about science. You get to do things at least a few dozen times. And what happened with all those gradations of marks on the photogenic paper is it was showing that light was moving as a wave. I don't know how many people live near a beach or have breakers or other points, a wave wall, something that blocks the wave from coming through. But when you have a block in front of a wave, in this case a wave of light, the wave passes through, but the shape of the wave continues on the other side. And so as those waves of light were coming through, they were literally doing this sort of motion and hitting that photogenic paper, creating a concentration in the center and an easement on either side of the light. Well, the photogenic paper, creating these gradations. Now, what's interesting is we see this same sort of thing happening in our awareness, our consciousness, our way of creating and being in life. And what happens is if we are not paying attention, if we are not being mindful, if we are simply continuing on with daily life, right? That's kind of what it's about. When our actions become more automatic because they are systematically happening Okay, let me step back. Have you ever driven a car and you're driving to a spot that you are very familiar with, you know it really well, and you get in the car, you turn the car on, you start driving, and before you know it, you're turning the car off and you're there. And I've had this happen a couple of times, and I honestly, I have to stop and go, wait, do I even remember driving here? Because there's a lot that happens in our brain that becomes very automatic to us, very simple and repetitive. And the subconscious, the unconscious parts of ourselves tend to just act on those systems because it saves us energy. It saves us calories. We don't burn as many calories thinking about what we're doing. The body can proceed on its own pretty automatically using the senses. Well, in the same way, when we're going through life, if we're not thinking about things, if we're not looking for things, if we're not really telling ourselves what is important to us, what is valuable, what we actually want to happen, then a lot of times we don't see it. Because the senses, the mind, don't know to pick up on the cues of the things that we want. We have literally told ourselves at this instance that it doesn't matter. And if it doesn't matter to your brain, then your brain isn't going to pay attention to it. This is the part that the reticular activating system actually has to play in who you are and what you want and what you're building in life. If you don't tell your mind, the reticular activating system doesn't hear it, doesn't realize that these are things to pay attention to and actually build the steps of what you're wanting for your life. And the neat thing is that because we are mostly driven 95% by our subconscious mind, if we can tell our subconscious mind, that other than conscious part of ourselves what we want and what we are really valuing for our future and what we're driving towards, if we can get that through, then it starts building it automatically. It starts looking for it. This is the power of visualization. This is the power of creating, writing down goals, making lists, looking for things that you're looking for out in the world. Because once we put it out there, then we can recognize through our senses. Because up here, things are really fleeting. The brain comes up with the neural connections. It's physical hardware, wetware. That's what goes on up here. It's all the connections, the neurons. The mind is the concept. It's the being that is putting all of the thoughts together. The conscious mind, the unconscious mind, and the subconscious mind. And when we get all of those on board, what that really means is creating an affirmation, creating a vision statement, creating a list of things that we want in our life, creating a vision board, creating a vision movie, creating things that tell us through our external senses what we want, where we want to go, and how we're going to do it. And once we get it outside of our brains, outside of our minds, outside of our visualization, and put it into this physical reality, then we reabsorb it. And by reabsorbing it, we actually get it deeperly we get it deeperly programmed into the subconscious mind. And since the subconscious mind rules 95% of your behavior, it is a much stronger influence to help literally drive you towards what you want, the things you want to do, your goals, your visions, your drive in life, the things that you value truly, without consciously putting in all the hustle towards it. Now, I personally believe that the opposite side of that subconscious work, which is mental work, which is programming, which is energetic, which is frequency, right? The other side of that, because we live in a dual reality, and yin and yang, up and down, right? There's always sort of the other side of it. And the subconscious inner work that happens when you see this and programming yourself, your mind for it, is you take the action steps in the outside world. And that is the stuff that happens automatically, really without you ever knowing about it, with the subconscious, with the reticular activating system, and that is programming your mind. To a lot of people these days, that's hacking your mind. Just telling yourself what you actually want, reaffirming it through things like lists and affirmations and vision boards. I love vision movies because the audio, the sound that goes with it, usually binaural beats or some sort of meditative music, chants. I love chants in other languages. That stuff actually locks it into my brain, and I'll tell you why. Because when I create a movie, I put all of the pictures that I want, the words that I want, images of things of myself with the future, and all of the things, all the life that I want to have, and I time that with music. And then, if that music is good, because the whole point of these things is you listen to it, you observe it, you bring it into yourself more often, and you get the subconscious mind through repetition to really grab onto that. What happens is that music sticks in your head, and when you start humming it to yourself, when you start thinking it to yourself, when you start singing it to yourself, then you are actually replaying that neural network in your head, and you are replaying the images, the words, and everything that goes along with that video, programming the subconscious. You are actively then programming the subconscious mind on a moment-to-moment basis. That's because of music. Music is so powerful, so transformative to the manifestation, to the visualization, to the process. So here's the thing that hit me this weekend, because the woman I was talking to, very nice woman, trying to start a business, trying to start, a new stage of life. There are a lot of people out there, they say, I read a great article. I have a lot of tangents today. My brain is a little ADD, so I guess I apologize. This is the state of the day. I read an interesting article this morning that's talking about the tremendous wave of resignations that are starting now, and they expect to peak in December, January, February, as more businesses open up and more businesses require people to come in from the pandemic. More businesses are expecting remote workers to drop the remote stuff and come in. The economists are expecting a huge wave of resignations. And I see it not as a bad thing, but as a terrific opportunity, because all of those people are saying, look, this old way, this old system of business, of corporations, of employer control doesn't work anymore. And I want to do my own thing. And I absolutely believe in living the life that you want to live, starting your own work, offering the services and the expertise that you have to somebody else. That's what starts your business. That's what gets you to the next leg. That's what drives you forward, right? When you actually start fulfilling your own purpose because you believe in the stuff that you do and how you can help people, rather than going back and working for somebody else and kind of complaining your way through the rest of life, that's really empowering to me, and that's really what I stand for. I love helping people. I love helping people in their business really get a leg up and stand out and be who they want to be and build that life. And this poor woman, I said, okay, well, what's your vision? And she said, I don't know. She said, I'm paraphrasing. Basically, she said, I've been told what to do for so long, and I know how to do it really well, but I don't really want to sell, and I don't really want to, I just want to do what I do just for myself instead of somebody else. I said, okay, well, what does that mean? Are you actually trying to build a business out of this, or is this just like a consultancy for you? Because it's still a business, right? If you're consulting for other businesses, for other people, for whatever, that's still your business. That could be a sole proprietorship or an LLC. It may even be an S corp or a standard corporation. But it really is built around what you want to build. Some people, entrepreneurs, right? We all seem to cherish entrepreneurs these days because entrepreneurs seem like they are built of some sort of thing that drives them to start businesses, to start corporations, to start ideas, and just build it. But there's a lot of people out there, and I think that there's going to be a lot more with this wave of resignations, that just want to do something. And the challenge is, if you want to do something and you don't get really clear, though, on what you're doing with it, who you're helping, and where you're going with it, you are essentially taking 20, 30, 40 years of work. And I imagine it like a giant heavy stone. And you're lifting this stone. This is your life. This is, you've devoted it to one corporation or a couple different corporations, and you're just taking it to a pond and dropping it and hearing thunk as the waves ripple out. Because if you're not imagining it going somewhere, you're just looking for money, it gets hard to create motivation for yourself. It gets hard to create motivation towards building something. And if you're in business, you really are building towards something. That's what entrepreneurs really figured out. They got their minds wrapped around that. They said, look, I am building something. I'm going to start somewhere and keep building. And that's why they're addicted to starting businesses, starting ideas, investing in others, right? It's the idea of building something. They have something in here that wants them to go somewhere with it, to get to a certain point. And there's a lot of them that it's actually, almost a how many times do I have to say this? A lot of our behavior as adults, and adults can be like 16, 18, like kind of range here, is driven by how we were raised. And a lot of people who are entrepreneurs who feel this drive to build and do and go are trying to fill a hole inside, a trauma that they had young of not being enough. And so they have to prove themselves. They have to prove that they are worth something and build more. And I talked with this woman this weekend a little bit more to see, what was her upbringing like. And that's something that branding people don't normally talk about. It's something that designers definitely don't talk about. Tell me about your past. How were you raised? How many siblings do you have? What were your parents like? What were your grandparents like? See, standard branding people, they're looking at the business, they're looking at differentiation, they're looking at market compatibility, they are looking for the audience base, they are looking for audience viability, they are looking for marketing opportunity. The thing that distinguishes me is that with an understanding of behavioral branding, I understand, especially working with a woman like this, that there's a lot that's happening up here that needs exploration, needs redefining, needs shifting, reframing just a little bit so that there is a path. Because without a path, we just have stagnancy. And stagnancy doesn't move forwards or backwards, it is just stuck. And eventually, if you are stuck, it's just like dropping that stone. You were just stuck. You don't move forward, you don't move backwards. You things that are stuck in this world don't last long. Every day, flowers bloom, birds fly, creatures eat, you grow older, I grow older. It's just the way of the world. And if you're stuck in that, you need to find a way to get unstuck. So I worked with this woman to do a little meditation, a guided meditation, so that she could just explore what makes her happy. Like, I understand the business that she was trying to start. I understand her goals. Really, she wanted to create a new logo. She wanted to create a new brand. She wanted to create a new website eventually. She understood basically the attributes she wanted to put into the whole thing, but she didn't know where she wanted it to go, what she wanted to do with it. And I think that creating that vision is incredibly important because it does train the brain, it does program the brain. I believe it actually creates quantum entanglements with the universe around you to help bring all of that to you. And by guiding her through this meditation, through this space where she could explore, what made you happy as a child? What did you like doing for other people, with other people? How did you find joy when you were younger? And what she kept telling me was that essentially she was told that she couldn't have things when she was younger, that it was just not for her, that there was plenty of things off limits, and that she was wrong to be wanting those things, which is a form of trauma, right? If someone told you growing up that you're not allowed to be you, you're not allowed to want the things that you want, for whatever reason, that is a form of trauma. And when you get older, your brain still believes that. There are neural networks going on within you that actually latch on to all of those circumstances and say, no, we don't deserve it. No, I am less than everybody else. I am not enough. I don't belong. I can't stand for myself. I can't take the next step. And what do we say to that? That's BS, right? All of this reality is created to protect, in that case, her. And that explains why for 40 years she worked for basically one or two companies and felt really stuck. So I want to share with you Abraham Hicks' way of finding what you want, Because here's the truth of it. You can be exposed to not enough stuff in your life. You can be exposed to not ever having a grand hotel experience. You can be exposed to food that is subpar. You can be exposed to pizza versus hamburgers. And the thing is, the more that you are exposed to in life, the more it broadens your choices. Some of the great instances of RTT that I've been helping people with, this hypnotherapy stuff, is really helping them see that, look, when we go back and we review scenes from the past, when we look at them, when we try to reframe, we reframe like the thoughts, the feelings that was happening in the past, what we see is that we aren't changing who somebody is. A lot of us have a fear of, oh, you're going to change me. You're going to change the way that I am. You're going to change the way that I see the world. We aren't changing anything. We are providing more options to your mind. That's opportunity, right? Because if we see that there are things that have brought you joy in the past, and that maybe by exploring a couple things or just putting things out there that I'm going to, as Abraham Hicks says, I'm going to have some of these things in my vortex, right? Things that are out there, things that are wild, things that are fun, things that I want, things that are exciting in my life, and I want that in my life. And when we start to identify some of those, some of that's just trying it, some of that's looking at it, some of it's learning about it, some of it's just dreaming big enough. Most of us have been told not to dream big. You're bound to fail. I remember my undergrad program, they said every designer here is going to fail. My graduate program, most of you here are going to fail in business. My wife's master's and doctorate programs in acupuncture, they kept telling them over and over again, acupuncture is a failure business. Everybody here is going to fail. Fail, 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 fail. And it's ridiculous because failure is the first attempt, right? First attempt in life, fail. Failure is the first attempt. It's learning. Everything is a learning process. Learn how to run a business. Learn how to find your vision. Learn how to experience different things to find what's in alignment with you, your feelings, and your life. You can have all of these things, but you have to find what you actually want inside of yourself. And it's not for anybody else to do it for you. And there's a rise, this attitude of, well, I don't know what I want, so, just go ahead and choose something. Choose a future for me, and I'll go ahead and chase that. Ends up leading to victim behavior, right? Because then if somebody chooses your future for you, and you spend your life chasing that future, do you feel a little resentment eventually? Yeah. Like it builds up. There's a feeling that I didn't really want this. I chose it because somebody else put it out there for me. And that's what a lot of us in society are experiencing right now because of the way we were raised. And I tend to think that our parents experienced the same thing. That's the reason we got it. There's this horrible trend going forward and forward and forward and forward of, you're going to do what I tell you to do because this is the way I was raised and I'm going to raise you that way. And now I hope you see, you don't have to live that way. You aren't that victim stuck inside of a box. You have every opportunity for you, ready to go. It is just out there if you can discover what you want. And nobody else can do that for you. It takes time, it takes quiet, it takes making lists. What do you think you want? I think that I want, and start making a list. In my future, what I want to build is make a list. So one of the first things we do with my coaching program is this meditation, the same one that I did with this woman. It's called the Blue Mist Meditation, and it is very much just kind of relaxing into a space where your mind, your unconscious, subconscious mind, can raise all of the things that you feel excited about, all the things that actually intrigue you, all the things that actually excite you, all the things that make you fall in love with yourself. Because that's called alignment. That is aligning your mind, your unconscious self, your subconscious self, your goals, your vision. That's creating alignment within that, because when we create alignment, then all of these parts start working actively on your behalf, building the future that you want. And If that's too hard, if you're not signing up with me, if you're not doing coaching with me, then I want to offer this to you. Sit with an idea. And that could be, you trying to remember one from a few weeks ago. That could be you running for politics, right? And if you sit with that idea for long enough and really dive into it with your imagination, think about it. Think about everything that it entails. Think about what happens with all of that, what that involves. That's crazy these days. I don't think anybody really wants to go into politics unless you're ready for a fight. And here's what I want you to pay attention to with these thoughts. Here's what helps you know what you love and what you don't love. When a positive thought happens to you, think of puppies in your lap, think of like tiny kittens, think of bunnies, think of happy things, right? Notice what it does to your body. Just take a moment and notice how it feels. Notice where it feels. For me, I get a very full kind of feeling here in my chest. It lifts me up. And when I think about something on the opposite side of that, I think about somebody in pain. I think about someone feeling terror or dread or pain, trauma. There's so much of it in the world. What happens is that sensation is not here. The sensation goes down. You can't see my stomach. The sensation goes down to my stomach. And it's like a heaviness in my lower stomach, my lower abdomen. It's like a heaviness that kind of just sits and pulls on me. And this is the thing that people really aren't taught. This is your body. This is your natural reaction to the thoughts and the sensations of creating alignment for yourself or moving out of alignment for yourself. Things that intrigue you, excite you, delight you, versus things that move you further away from that. And I know from working in the corporate world myself, there was a lot of things, a lot of days I would go to work that it wasn't here, it was down in the gut. And I would go and do the things because I was getting paid. And it's one of the benefits of creating your own business, of creating your own alignment, of creating your own vision, is the fact that you can stay true to yourself and your values and the things that you believe and the things that excite you. And this, between the heart and the gut, that's your key. That is how you know what you really want. Like, if you really want something, if you really want a goal for the future, if you really want to create a vision, is it more exciting or thrilling or scary to start a business and start something new for yourself, create a brand new website, start selling things that nobody ever thought of before, something that just seems fun to you? Like, if that's a feeling up here, and kind of gives you a little bit of a thrill, even though it's scary. We know it's scary, right? That's also thrilling. That's the excitement of something new. That's fight or flight kind of kicking off a little bit, right? And you're going, I don't want to run away from this time. I can feel it. I can feel that excitement. I'm going to stay. I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to talk my way through it until somebody says, I see the value in what you're doing and I will pay you for it because you were doing great. And when you do something that you don't want to do, right, it's the opposite feeling. It's down in the gut. It's pulling you down, slowing you down. It causes more procrastination. It causes more anxiety. It causes more of just a kind of feeling. So I encourage you to take the steps to follow your heart, follow that feeling, learn to tune in to these two different sources of information, because these are essentially the magnets, right, for direction, for feeling, for possibility, for your vision, for whatever it is you're building, because nobody can decide your future for you. It's up to you to see that future, tell yourself what you want, and start pursuing it. One step at a time, your own pace. There's no hurry, right? The world is yours. It's waiting for you. As soon as you will get there is when you'll get there. Wherever you go, there you are. And if you're interested in a partner to help you through some of this, check out my website, thinktankcreative.net. You can sign up for a free 30-minute consultation. I would love to hear about what's going on in your life, what your vision for the future is, maybe who your parents are, how your upbringing was like, depending on what we talk about. Because that's what lets me know, are we right to work together? Are we right to build a brand, a website, a vision, a mission, or just some coaching to help you take the next steps in your journey? Because I believe in you. And every day I come on here, I am just thinking about how excited I am to talk to you, how excited I am in the stuff that you're building and the changes that you are creating for the world. Because the people I talk to are creating change. They are terrific. They are energized. They are recognizing their own power, and they are taking control of life, because it's up to you and all of them to help fix what's going wrong in the world, to help fix all the issues that seem to keep popping up. Because if we don't start making headway on this stuff, then it's going to start kicking our butts. And then we're in real trouble, right? Anyhow. So read more information, thinktankcreative.net. I am Jeremy Tank, and I appreciate you watching and listening to me today. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. I love you. Take care. Bye.